Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics video on the channel. It is Wednesday and as always we have trade talk for you ahead of round 17 as we enter into best 22. So no 3 trades, we have 2 trades each this week and we go back to best 22. So hopefully you guys have got your 22s in order, or if not, hopefully this week gets it all in order for you for the stretch home, because this is where hopefully you can make some ground on those top 100, top 10, top 1,000, top 5K, whatever you're sort of aiming for. Hopefully you can make that ground up in the run home, and hopefully you've got a good team on the park. So as always, if you are new to the trade talk and don't know how we do things here, we'll go to the top 10 most trade in-out players of the week, give my thoughts on each of them. Might touch on a few guys outside of the top 10 for each. Then my top 5 targets for the week, and then my trade plans heading into round 17. So let's kick it off with the most trade in players of the week. And starting off at number 1 is Harry Ralston, who's been brought in by 5.6k coach. So you can see a lot of players are spread, but Ralston is the downgrade of choice, minus 22 break even, and has looked pretty good. Well, not pretty good, has looked very good playing in the Giants midfield since came back into the team. So he was sub in round 11, scored the 12 from only 7%, and then obviously came back in round 14, 15, 75 and 83 from low game time as well. So some good scores there, and I think he's going to make some good cash. So even if he goes at I think I worked it out, if he goes at a 70 this week, he goes up $70,000 odd, which is pretty wild. Obviously, that making that type of cash, and even though he is an elevated price of 327k, I think he's a good option, particularly if you don't have a midfield sort of guy covering you on the bench, or if you've got low team value. I still think even if you've got high team value, I still think he's a good option to bring in, because he can make you. I think he's going to make at least 100k, might be close to that 250k. And then you can downgrade him later on, upgrade potentially McCarthy to a genuine 23rd premium. If not, then you can maybe get that 24th guy, and that might be along with McCarthy and that 24th guy. So I think he's a good option to bring in. Giants have got a really good run now, and if he's in the team and not sub, which we'll know because they play on the Friday night, I think he's playing really well that he won't be. He's moved Toby Bedford out of the midfield, and he's that third guy behind Green and Callaghan. West Coast Geelong, Rston, a really good 3-game stretch. I even think he could be a guy that you could loop, and if he pops a 90 or 100 and you've got someone you're not as confident in, I think you can loop him on. So I do like him. He's someone that I'm potentially looking at bringing in this week. So Harry Ralston for me is a good option and good reason why he is number 1 this week. Jasper, I think Olga is what people are saying. I've said Alga, our gear, it's all different ones, but I'm pretty sure it's been saying as Olga is what people are saying. But Jasper Olga, been brought in by, what was it, 3.2k coaches. I brought him in, a couple of weeks ago when he was 230k. Unfortunately, was subbed the first week, but next game plays and scored a 60 against the Crows, which was a good score. He had some promising signs, kicked a couple of goals. Obviously, one was sort of on the line. A few people thought it hit the post. I can't even remember if it hit the post, to be honest. I didn't honestly see sort of the replay and stuff of it. But regardless, 60 points, good score. We're not only the 12k because he got the 10 the week before, but his break-even is now down at 6. So he'll start making that cash now. I think he played well enough that he's going to get a good run at it. Obviously, Richmond are in that rebuild phase. They're going to give these guys a fair run at it. I don't think he's going to be sub moving forward, or at least for the next few weeks. Can make some good cash on the bench. And you're saving a lot of money, obviously. 242k is a good price for him. So if you don't have him, I think he is a good pick there as one of your F7 or F8. Archer May is next on the list, so 3.1k, not too far behind our Olga. I almost said it wrong again, but Olga. Archer May is next. Minus 11 break even, just behind him, and the 3.1k coaches bringing him in. It's a good question this week, is whether do you save the 54k and go get Olga, or do you spend it up, get Archer May, who's got the lower break even, and get Olga next week. I think if you got the 50k, I'd probably go Archer May just because of the low break even. But I feel like maybe if your team's in a really good spot, you've got maybe a 25 million plus team value, I think that's probably where you go for Olga. Save as much money as possible because you're going to get some cash in from them anyway. So I think low team value, I'd go Archer May over Olga. But I think if you've got good team value, you're in the top sort of 1,000 or so for that, top 5K maybe, then maybe you go for Olga and save as much cash as possible. But I like both. I think Archibald was really impressive in the game before the bye. Got Gold Coast and Richmond, so a couple of decent matchups there. Might pop a couple of 60s there for you, make some decent cash. Now we get to a few of the premiums. So Jai Caldwell is next on list, 2.6K jumping on him. I've been banging the drum for a few weeks about Jai Caldwell. Obviously not last week because he's on the bye, but I've said for a few weeks I think he's a top 4 mid, and he is performing exactly like that. He's obviously absolutely killing it at the moment. Gold Coast and Richmond in the next 2. Just look at these scores. 146, 97 and 100. Then comes back after the bye. Low game time, 72. Another low game time, 57. But when he goes over that 70% mark, 120, 128, 110, 122, 109. There aren't many mids that are putting up consistent numbers like that week in, week out. He's not going to get tabbed because it's going to be either Merritt or Nick Martin. I'm a big fan of Jai Caldwell, especially with these next 2 matchups coming. Break-even's 95, so if you don't get him this week, I think you can still go there next week, which is what I'll be probably looking to do. I can't quite afford him, unfortunately, this week, but if I could, I'd be bringing him in because I think he's a great option. He's unique as well, less than 5% ownership. I think he's a great target. I'd be looking at him very, very strongly if you haven't considered him already. Number 5 is Tom Green, and he's someone that is a bit more in my price range that I'm looking at this week, under $1 million. Before the bye, had a couple of good scores. Looked to be back in a little bit of form. 3 of his last 4 have been over the ton and over 109, which is good. The 78 against Brisbane is only sort of blemish there. But yeah, 112, 109, 119. A bit more like the Tom Green that we thought we were going to get. But it's about this run post-bye. West Coast, Geelong, Essendon, great matchup. Sydney, I think, is good because I think Callaghan will get the tag. Dogs, bit tougher. Then North Melbourne, Gold Coast, St Kilda to finish. I think it's a really nice run home. Tom Green, we know he's a gun. If he can do more of this, 4 marks, 9 tackles, a lot more consistently on the run home, I think we'll see more of those 110, 120 plus scores. And I think for under $1 million, I think he's a $1 million midfielder in fantasy. I think he's a really good target and someone I'm looking at this week. And he's still fairly unique, under 10%. So I do like Tom Green. He's number 5. 2,500 coach jumping on him. Tom McCarthy, not much more really to say. 2,000 coach jumping on him. If you don't have him last week to jump on, he's going to be probably over 500k next week. And yeah, he's looked great. Another 95 in a really tough matchup against Collingwood. Goes Giants, then Port. But regardless, you've got to get him on your bench, at least as D7 there, so or M9. He's just got to be there, simple as that. And the good thing is he plays Friday night, so we get to have a look. We loop him. If you got like Callum Mills or someone like that, you can have a look and see what McCarthy does and potentially loop him on if he goes 85, 90 plus, you'd probably say. So, yeah, McCarthy, if you don't have him, he's a must-have and you need to jump on board. Sam Flanders at number 7, just under 2,000 coach jumping on him this week. I wish I did this last week. I decided to go for Mills instead. I wish I went Flanders. He scored 90 last week. Again, looked good. The role, it's a role change. Obviously people are going to look at the CBAs and go, you only had one CBA, but it's not about the CBAs. It's about the fact he's not as a deep forward. He's now playing between the 50s, getting up the ground, getting involved. This is like the extra midfielder there. 88 and 90 in back-to-back weeks. Now goes into Essendon, which is a great matchup. Then it's tougher against Collingwood, Adelaide and Brisbane. So not a great few matchups after that. But as someone that's under 700k that can put up 85, 90, I think he's a good target. So if you are looking for someone a bit cheaper, he's dropped over 400k for the year as well. If you had the decision this week between him or Mills, you're definitely going Flanders this week. So Sam Flanders, I do like as an option if you're shopping in that range. Number 8, Errol Gordon. Very similar to Jai Caldwell. Really, really like Errol Gordon as a pickup this week. He just showed us last week that why a lot of us had him probably as the number 1 or number 2 midfielder leading into the year. 124, and that was with a 9-point first quarter. Just absolutely killed it in the last 3 quarters. I think he had a 50-point quarter, and that might have been the third quarter or something. But time on ground back up to where we normally see Errol at the 89% mark. 6 marks, 7 tackles, really nice there. 30 touches, got a really nice run home. If you don't get him this week, I'd be tempted to wait a couple of weeks just in case he gets the Winhager tag or some sort of attention that week. But then from round 19 onwards, I think we need him. So he's someone that, if you don't have any trade plans this week, I'd be planning to be bringing him in because he's someone I think we're going to need for the last 8 weeks of the season or 6 weeks or whenever you sort of get him. So, and again, 2.56% ownership. I like him a lot as a target. So, yeah, big fan of him. Mckercher at number 9, 1.6k jumping on him. Again, he's someone I've had in the top trade targets for a number of weeks now and would still be up there. 763k, went up another 51k. I would probably say that this is the last week to jump on. Just because he's going to be over 800k next week, and unless you think he's going to be a top 6 defender, I wouldn't be looking at him probably from then. He's still going to be some value, right? But you missed the 3-4 weeks that everyone else has had since he's had this role change. So, another a ton last week. He's got better. He hasn't got better because he went, 91, then 85. He's got better last 3 weeks. 85, 99, 103. Dogs, Melbourne, Sydney, Geelong, St Kilda. Not a bad little stretch coming up. Dogs obviously a bit trickier, but I think if Dogs are having a lot of shots at goal, Mckercher's going to have his kick-ins. He's going to get maybe some marks from the kick-ins there. So if those marks could jump up to 7 or 8, you could be seeing a 110, 120 score. So really like Caldwell still. And number 10's Dan Curtin. So very interesting. 1,500 coaches jumping on Dan Curtin. 659k. 118 last week. Looked fantastic. He's clearly his best game. And as a Crows fan, I was incredibly impressed with the game that he put together. It was such a well-rounded game. 26 touches, 8 marks, 5 tackles, a couple of goals. And hasn't gone below 70 now for, 5 weeks. So I wouldn't be jumping on because I think if this was earlier in the year, I think he would be a good target. But I just don't think it's quite the time of the year where we're looking for someone that's sort of that mid-range. I think Flanders is not that much more expensive than him. I'd rather Flanders because I think he can average closer to the 85, 90. Whereas Curtin, that was his best game. I think he's going to be anywhere from that, probably 65 as his floor in this role. I think that maybe he can go at that up to about 100, but I think he's more that 75, 80 guy. Probably as an average, I'd peg him at. Maybe 75 is where I'd have it, which I don't think is quite enough. He's going to make some cash, but a few people might be looking at going, okay, well, I'll go Caleb Daniel down to Dan Curtin and use that money on top of someone else, which I don't completely hate that move, but I just don't think it's the time to be doing that. So I personally wouldn't be doing it, but he's going to make some money, and if you're really, really keen on it, then I probably won't talk you out of it because he's looking bloody impressive, that's for sure. Some other players here, Bo Allen, I think, he's a downgrade option. He's 263k, obviously cheap, 42 last week. He's not going to be a huge scorer, but at the end of the day, he is cheap for, I think, what he can, for making some money. So I still have Ralston, guys like that ahead of him. McCarthy, if you don't have him. But if you've got all these guys and you just need someone as a downgrade, you could go him there. But I think Olga and May are going to be more popular because I think people are looking to cash out of those Sydney boys in the forward line, maybe a Kyle Lohman. So I think they're more popular. Will Dawson, I wouldn't be trading into. I don't think he looked really impressive at all on the weekend. I know that North Melbourne got beaten badly, but I don't think he'll be in the team for very long. He could even be dropped this week. So it's something to watch with teams tonight. But I wouldn't be paying into him. 250k. I'd be looking elsewhere. Holmes, good option if you don't have him. Got Richmond this week. Got Richmond again for the end of the season. Got West Coast North. Really nice run home. I think they've only got one top 9 team for the remainder of the year, Geelong. So some really good matchups to come. I do like Holmes. Luke Jackson, think you missed the boat if you're jumping on now. He's now well over $1 million. You've missed those good scores. Darcy's probably just going to get a little bit more ruck time as the year goes on. I think he's still going to be probably a top 6 forward if this role sticks, where he starts as the ruck and then goes into the midfield a little bit of forward. But I wouldn't be trading into him now. I think I'll be going for like a Jack Mckercher, saving a little bit of money there, as good as the unicorn has been. Tyroo, the Flying Viking, he was very, very impressive the other day against Freo. I think he equaled the record for most spoils in a game or something, or St Kilda for spoils in a game or something like that. He was very, very good. 350k, he's going to play. But I think because we've got Archer May and Olga there, I'd be going for those two instead. So as good as Tyroo is, I think if you don't have him now, I think I'd save the either 108k and go for Olga, or I'd just go for Archer May if you need that extra bit of cash gen. Billy Wilson, obviously we don't know if he's going to be named, but he only got a 20, so we don't have to jump there this week. Mckercher, I do like as an option. Liddy, you could still go there as well, but this is probably the last week to do it. He is expensive now. He is at 357, but still got some money to make. So if you've already got a Ralston, Liddy, you could potentially go for. And I do like all these guys. Josh Dunkley, I think, is underpriced. I think he's definitely an option. Brian Myers, as I mentioned with Holmes, good run for the rest of the year. He's a good option. Nick Martin, if you don't have him, I think you can definitely pay up. He's got Gold Coast and Richmond, so we know what he did against Richmond earlier in the year. I think he's a very good option. And Nick Dacos, probably not this week against Carlton. I think he gets the Chincotta tag, but from next week onwards, I think he's one of the guys that you can't go without for the remainder of the year. So Nick Dacos, good option next week, but just with the Carlton matchup, I think I would wait for him. What's his break even? I don't know what his break even is. Petrarca's not too bad an option there as well if you're looking for a forward. 98, he's not going to get away from you this week. I'll just wait a week and then get him the week after. Moving to the most traded out players for the week. I think a lot of these are probably self-explanatory, so I'll probably be able to whiz through these fairly quickly. So Ned Long, I think his time's up. He's the most traded out this week, 3.2k jumping off of him. And yeah, he's done his job. He's done fantastic. He's made well over 400k for us. He's up at nearly 900k, which is very impressive. I don't think any of us thought he'd be able to get this high. I think a lot of us thought when he got the 67 or the 77 here, we thought maybe his time's done. But then went 132, 101, 101 to get that cashed in right up. 76 and 80 last 2 weeks and some good matchups. And if we see when he actually scored well, he was up at near 80% game time for 2 of them. The Melbourne game, he played well as well for a 101, but when he's down this lower game time, he's probably around that 80, 85, I think, a lot more. So I think Carlton's a game where he could actually go okay as Carlton a high stoppage team. So that would be something that if you needed to hold for a week, like if you've got him and Doc was to get dropped, I think it's fine to hold for an extra week. His break-even's at 106. I think he could go around that, maybe a little bit lower, but if Doc's there named, I'd be trading Long out before him. So Long can go this week as we are in luxury trade season. Matt Roberts, I think, has got to go. He's playing more on a wing. Now, he is fighting back at times at half-back, but he's splitting it a little bit between half-back and wing. Not really taking any kick-ins anymore. It seems to be Blakey or Mills. He's bleeding cash now. He's put up a couple of bad scores in a row. I think, 45, and I think the week before, 76. Hasn't turned up since round 7, so he's just not got the access to that amount of points if he's playing a bit more high up the ground. So for me, he can go. Foss, yep, he can go. 3k jumping off him this week. He's, again, done really well. Only went up 6k this week. Break-even's now at 56, which is around what he's been scoring for the last few weeks, but last week was a poor one. He's done his job. 517k was really good that he was able to get up to 500k, but I would be cashing him in. Zack Johnson still got a single-digit break-even, but if him down to like a Ralston gets you the upgrade you need, I'm happy to jump off as early as this week. Angus Clark, again, same thing. They both got good matchups, but there'll be a few guys come back for the Bombers this week. If going these guys down to a rookie gets you the cash you need to upgrade, I'm happy to trade both, even though they might both have a little bit of cash still to make. Adam Chera is the interesting one. 2.2k jumping off him. I think it's a slight overreaction to a bad score. His first sub-ton since round 9, and he'd just been consistently pumping out tons. They were awful. Carlton the other night, it was his first game this season where he failed to take a mark, and his lowest was actually 2 marks, which he did in rounds 2 and 3, but had taken at least 4 marks in every game up until that point. So he'd been getting a lot of it. His tackles had been good as well. I'm not trading. I know his next 2 matchups are a bit trickier, but he's a guy that's been really good, and the fact that the mids aren't consistent, he's not going to get tagged. I know they got a bit of attention from Drew last week, but yeah, I'm not trading Chera if I've got him. If you want to be really aggressive and you're just outside the top 100 and you want that differential, and you can go like Chera to a Gordon or a Caldwell or something like that, you could potentially think about doing that if the rest of your team's looking good. But I think in a lot of cases, I'd be just holding Adam Chera. Thinking that he'll bounce back, which I think that he will. Horn Francis at number 7. I think he's just dropped too much value to be trading out, to be honest. He's down at 741k. He's gone down another 50k essentially this week. He's 741, 130 break even. I'd be holding him, and if you can move him to like your mids and loot with McCarthy at M8, or even just leaving F6. So I'd be holding. I think you've lost too much value. I know it's frustrating that, a bit like Tom Stewart, I had to endure this early in the year, holding this injured player that is just putting up subpar scores. But he'll come good, and people that don't have him are keeping an eye on him, right? Because he's so cheap. He's going to be someone that people are looking at as that 23rd premium. I'd be holding him if you've got him. I know it's tough, but I'd be holding firm there. Caleb Daniel, what's that, number 8 most trade out player? Yep, he can go. Again, luxury trade season. If you've got a few other guys in order, I'd trade him out. it's the difference between like a Long or a Caleb Danyle, like a Danyle to Mckercher or Long to like a Tom Green, Caldwell, Gordon. I'd be trading Long first. I think even though Caleb Daniel's not putting up massive scores, don't think he's turned up since like round 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, hasn't turned up since round 3, which is ridiculous. Those 2 games back-to-back were great, but since then he hasn't done massively well. His game time is up, which is, I guess, good for his. He's had a couple. Actually, no. To be fair, he's had a couple low ones, but most of it's been mid-80s % game time. Again, 3 scores under 80 in a row. You're going to get anywhere from 75 to 95 pretty much in any given week from Caleb Danyle. His next few matchups aren't too bad. Revenge game against the Dogs. So he's fine if you hold him at F6, but if you trade him and you go to Mckercher or something, that's completely fine, or even Petrarca, or if you can go all the way up to Matt Kennedy. Hugh Boxall at number 9. Yep, a lot of people are going, I'll talk about my trades after, but a lot of people are going like a Boxall to Ralston this week, and Boxall's someone I'm looking at trading. There's a chance he comes back in the team, but if he's the avenue to go get a Ralston or whatever, I think even if he comes back in, break-evens at 33, he was only playing like 40% game time, 45% game time, it was like 49% game time, but not much. So he's not going to, I don't think he's going to set the world on fire, even if he does come back in. So he is fine to trade. And number 10 is Sam Davidson there, 1.7k jumping off him. And again, he can go. He's done his job. He's 672. He went down 1,000. So he's pretty much hit his peak. So, yep, he can go. If you had to hold for one more week against North, I don't mind that. Again, with the North matchup, if you loop him at F7 and see how he goes. Maybe for 1 week, but I think after that he can go. Hardiman, and then that's the top 10 as well. Outside the top 10, yeah, Hardiman been a bad trade. I did that. I moved a couple weeks ago, but he can go. Kako can go. Sheasel, a few people jumping off him. I would only be trading if he's out. I think I'd still be holding firm with him. North got absolutely smashed. No one really scored well besides a Colby Mckercher for North. I think he bounces back. I think he has a better role this week. I think that he wasn't involved whatsoever. North have got to really get him involved more. It's not meaning he's got to be in there for 20, 25 CBAs a game, but with this deep forward stuff, I don't love that, and they're not getting anything out of him. So I think he's got to play more up the ground and get involved. On the roof at Marvel, a lot better than down at UTAS. I'd be holding. I know he's got a bit of a sore shoulder, but they expect him to play. Apparently he was in training today. I think he'll be fine. So I'd be holding Sheasel. But if he was to pop another bad score or 2, that's when you can jump off, I think. So Elijah Hewitt can go, done his job. Same with Sheldrick's done his job. Sinclair, I'd probably be holding. He's dropping cash, but I'd be holding. Lockie Whitfield depends. I think you can hold because McCarthy's there if he's your D7 and you've got Whitfield because you want him after. But if you want to trade and get aggressive and loot McCarthy with whoever you bring in, I think that's completely fine. But obviously look at bringing him back in a few weeks. Butler has got to go. He dropped a bad score and his cash gen will really sort of halt now. His break-evens at 32, 458. He's done decent. He's made nearly 100k, but I'd be trading him. Bolton has to go, and along with Bice, if you haven't traded him, they can go. My top 5 trade targets for round 16. Nearly forgot the round. Number 1, I've got Harry Ralston. I think for a lot of us that are still, like myself included, looking for some more cash gen, he's a really good option. Has West Coast. You can even loop him on Friday and see how he goes. And if he pops a 90, 95, you might be able to bench one of those defenders if you've got some flexibility, or if you've got a midfield that you don't love. You can maybe bench them for Ralston. At number 2... I'm not going to put McCarthy because everyone's jumped on him, right? So I'm not going to include him there. At number 2, I'm going to put Jai Caldwell. I love him as a target. I want him in my team. I can't get him this week, which I'm really annoyed about. I know Jordy is being able to jump on him this week, so that's good for him. But yeah, I really like Jai Caldwell as a target. Great matchups to come. He's not going to get tagged. He's a top 4 mid, I think, for the rest of the season. So I really do like him. He is my number 2. At number 3, I'll go Archer May. If you're looking for a forward downgrade and you don't need the extra, so you need the extra cash gen, I think that Archer May is a good option. And I'll go slash Olga there. So if you're looking at a forward, I'll go May if you need the cash gen, Olga if you've got good team value and you're just sort of trying to save as much as possible. So there's my equal number 3 option. Number 4, I've got Errol Gordon. I just think, again, if you can pay up for someone, if you've already got a Caldwell, if you can pair him with Errol and you've got Caldwell and Errol in your team, I think it's a really good duo to have. They're both unique. and both going to make good cash. And number 5, I've got Tom Green. I just think the value there, a lot of people are going to be probably shopping in his area compared to the Caldwell Gordon areas because he's so expensive. If you don't have that money and you can get to someone like a Tom Green, I think that's a really good option. He's got West Coast this week, so sugar hit right there. He scored a 121 against them early in the year and has got a good run for the rest of the year. So he is my number 5 option. Colby would probably be right up the list, but I think a lot of people have already jumped on now. If you don't have him, he would be probably above Caldwell, probably number 2 still, just because I do like the cash gen that he's going to make. I think he makes at least another 100K there as well. Don't mind like a Flanders if you're trying to look to save a little bit of cash there as well. My trade plans for the round. At the moment, I'm going Boxall down to Harry Ralston. It's made about 20K, 22K from that downgrade. I think Ralston, my team value's starting to climb up. I think it's just outside the top 5K, thanks to Liam from Free Kick for giving me the ranking there. So it's starting to come along, just under 24.3 mil. So Ralston's going to help continue that cash gen. Will be a good M9 sort of to have as cover, / if he has a good score, maybe you can loop him on. So yeah, doing that trade. And then I had 87K in the bank. So I'm able to go Ned Long up to Tom Green, who I like. So obviously don't have the money to go up to a Caldwell or an Errol Gordon, which I'd probably both go them over Green, but don't have the money. So Tom Green, I'm very happy with getting into there. My trades for the week. But that'll do us for trade talk for round 16. Let me know in the comments below what you guys doing with your trades for round 16. And if you've got any questions, chuck them in the comments and I'll try and get to a couple if I can. Unfortunately, can't guarantee an answer just because it's busy time. People message me on all the socials. But if you do want a guaranteed answer to your question, because as I said, messages on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I just unfortunately can't get to all of them as well as pump out all the content. So if you do want a guaranteed answer to your question or you'd like a team review, so me go through your team and give you a personalized audio response, head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics and become a member and join in all of the fun there. Patreon Q&A will be recording tonight. So if you get in now and you can get your questions answered ahead of round 16. So if you'd like to, I keep saying round 16. Round 17. I think I said round 16 at the start of the video as well. I've only just clicked onto that. It's round 17, not 16, because round 16 was our bye week. So that's great. So I've probably stuffed that up at the start. But anyway, we are at the end of the video. So, but yes, thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you do smash a like on the video. That would be very much appreciated. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We are currently at over 4,000 subscribers now. We're going towards 5K, so if you can help us reach that goal, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll be back later on tonight, obviously previewing Game Day Squad for the round with Tom, as we always do, and then tomorrow night, Captains, and another watch-along for the North Melbourne and Dogs game. So looking forward to that one. So thanks, everyone. Good luck with your trades this week. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for Captains. So thanks, everyone. Have a good night. See ya.